Hey guys, welcome to my channel. I'm so excited, guys, because I have been trying to do a YouTube channel forever. Meanwhile, I just washed my hair, and so my curls are doing whatever right now, like poking to the side. So just ignore that. I will try to, you know, smooth these babies out so there's no distraction. Natural hair life. But anyway, welcome to my channel. I'm your girl Louisa, and I'm so excited to be here. I'm so excited to finally be doing this YouTube thing and trying to be consistent, because it felt like I wanted to do YouTube since it was in my 20s, and now I'm in my 30s, early 30s, and I just didn't want to be that grandma, be like 80 years old, like, welcome to my channel. Like, you know, do it now when you're young. So really excited, but you know, I really wanted to talk. My last video, so like the last video I did was sort of a New York Fashion Week vlog, and it was like my first time kind of testing this whole YouTube thing, and you know what I mean, trying to come up with content. It was just me living my life in the city, being a baby girl, you know what I mean. But this video is a bit more like, okay, I just want to talk, let's talk, let me tell you about me and my journey, and kind of talk about something that is near and dear to me and is going to be a huge theme on the channel this year, definitely. Wait, dang, it's September. Okay, in the next couple of months. So what had happened was okay, so I want to talk about something that's important to me. People who, if you followed me on other platforms before, or you're a friend, you know I am an entrepreneur. I love entrepreneurship. I stand for entrepreneurship, but I quit entrepreneurship. And I'm gonna talk about why I said bye-bye. But no, seriously, I'm going to talk about why I quit entrepreneurship and why a lot of women like me, women of color, do quit entrepreneurship, and what that means and what we can do about it. Is it a bad thing? Is it a good thing? What can we do about it? So let's talk about me. So I grew up in a family of entrepreneurs. Like, my daddy was an entrepreneur, my mommy was an entrepreneur, their parents were entrepreneurs. It was, in my house, it was all about get your paper, do your thing, create your own opportunities, and it was great. It was also hard because I also saw my family, especially my mom and my dad, to kind of sacrifice a lot of, like, you know, personal things to grow in business wise. And I kind of felt, you know, when I was younger, maybe a little bit like I wasn't as important as that journey for them. And now that I'm older, I kind of understand how hard it is to be a parent and to be an entrepreneur. So to all those mompreneurs, dadpreneurs, you guys, I don't know how y'all do it, but that's amazing. But anyway, back to me. I started my career here in New York in PR and marketing. Love that. Moved to Houston, Texas, did the same thing, but was also blogging for a very popular website you guys may know if you are African, Nigerian, whatever, Bella Niger. And also, like, you know, did my own content, whatever. I started kind of connecting back home through that blog and like through my other ventures, realizing that there was a need for like more beauty products in Nigeria, specifically authentic beauty products, new cool brands, all that stuff. So while I was still in the US, while I was still in Houston, I started my own e-commerce platform for beauty brands. Think of like a Sephora for Africa. Amazing. It was like beyond my dreams, right? Like, all of a sudden this little thing that was like a hobby started to blow up, and like people were like buying from me, and I'm like what? And so, you know what? We're gonna pause this because I need some earrings. Look at this. Like, that's probably what I need. So just hold on. Hold up a second. And I'm back. Better, right? Ooh, I should smooth my hair. Whatever. So back to what I was saying. Started the business and it was like, boom, like, hey. And at that time, I'd been at my company for like 5 years plus, and was just like, okay, I need something new. I want to try this whole entrepreneurship, and I always wanted to move back to Nigeria and like live in the motherland, you know what I mean? Like, melanin, hello, yes. And so I moved to Nigeria. Biggest mistake of my life. I'm just kidding. It was amazing. Company grew. I did like pitch competitions, like push the business, and was like grinding on my hustle, everything, and like things were going great. I was feeling like, you know, I'm the shit. Like, what? Check me out. Making money, girl boss moves. Hello. No one can stop me. Right. So here comes a year called, so this is about, I moved back like about 2015. So like comes like 2016, and there was a little president. Okay, I won't get into politics, but let's just say like the economy changed, right? So my business is a luxury business. And you need people who are willing to pay for luxury products. I mean, beauty is a luxury product, right? Even if it's like drugstore beauty, it's a luxury product. It's not food. It's not shelter. Now you take like luxury beauty or luxury beauty, like luxury beauty. When you take like luxury beauty, like that takes it to a whole different level. And you know, the economy in Nigeria took a and just people just were not ready to shell that type of money like they were before, right? And it was a very niche, and I think there are things like, obviously being the first new business owner, obviously like there were mistakes I made. I could have a bigger team, I could have done blah 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 blah, kind of like change strategy faster or whatever based on trends. But I started to see that dip. And for me, I'd always been like this like type A person who like pretty much, I never failed. I've never failed. Everything from primary school, nursery school to high school, college, I've always like been, you know, to working. Everything always pretty much went right. It did not mean that my life was perfect. Far from it. But career-wise, that was my sweet spot, right? Man, not so much. Career, I'm that girl. And so that was really hard for me because I'm like, flippity-doo. I don't want to curse on camera, but you get what I'm trying to say. Like, what am I gonna do? And I think a lot of entrepreneurs go through that, where you do everything right, or you do everything that you think is right? And then things still don't go well just because the market isn't ready, or the market changes, or a new competitor comes in, or whatever it is. In my case, it was the market changed, it was volatile. I also think that, you know, and I can talk about it in a different video, I think the environment changed at that point from like imports to maybe supporting more, you know, homemade indigenous brands. And that wasn't my, you know, specialty. And I kind of tried to pivot to that, but whatever. So, one, I think that, you know, as entrepreneurs, especially women of color, it's very, very important to have support. And not just, you know, financial support, and I'll talk about the importance of financial support later, but then, you know, to have the knowledge, to have mentors, or to have, you know, someone to guide you, because you don't know everything yourself. So I was fine with writing it out. Like, I I was ride or die for my business. Like, ride or die for my man, ride or die for my business. That's your girl. Okay. But something happened. I had sort of like a health scare, and I'll just put it out there. Before I left, I knew I had fibroids. Didn't really feel like it was like a big deal because they were really small. Did all the tests. Was like, whatever, I'm good. Like, let's go. Moved back. It grew so much while I was there. Probably all the plantain and yam, you know. But it grew so much when I was there, and it was so bad. I literally looked pregnant, and guys, and it was so painful and embarrassing. And then I looked into it. I mean, it got to the point where I was like, literally felt like I was pregnant, right? I would sleep all the time. I'd be so exhausted. I'd be throwing up. Like, it got really, really bad. So I was in South Africa doing an accelerator program for L'Oreal, and I like remember like just feeling sick and dizzy. I'm like, I need to go to the doctor. So I go to the doctor and I get it checked out, and they're like, Madam, you need to get this taken care of. Like, what is wrong with you? This is ridiculous. Like, this is dangerous. This is life-threatening at this point. And not just life-threatening, like future-threatening. Like, do you want to have children ever? You need to fix this. I'm like, oh crap. But guess what? I didn't have health insurance. I didn't have health insurance because I was an entrepreneur and I made good money. Like, I made enough to be a baby girl. You know what I mean? Like, my business made enough to like support my staff and pay vendors and, you know, keep up with advertising, marketing, and grow. And of course, we're dealing with all these issues, but like my health, like, I don't have tens and thousands of dollars like just to drop on surgery. And I mean, it's just one of those things. Like, I had just turned 30. I just kind of felt like, dang, I really should be at a place where I can take care of myself, right? I'm not a kid anymore. I'm not a teenager. I'm not in my 20s. It's not mommy and daddy come fix this for me. Like, I need to fix this myself. Like, I should, like, I know it takes time to grow a business. It takes time to grow a brand, but it shouldn't be at the detriment of me, of my health. And that was kind of like a wake-up call for me, where it was like, it's good to be an entrepreneur, it's good to build your business, but what about you, sis? Like, yo, I literally looked in the mirror. What about me? What's happening to me? I didn't really recognize myself anymore, you know? I had let my health get so bad. And if you let your fibroids get so bad, imagine what I wasn't taking care of. I was taking care of my hair, I was taking care of my skin, I was taking care of my life, my soul, my body. I was just wretched. I was just drained. I was giving everything to this thing that I love so much, but what about me? And like, it doesn't matter if like I'm a billionaire, if I'm dead, or you know what I mean, if I build the best brand but I'm not here to see the effort of my labor. So it just really like gave me that, like, you know, 360, need to get your life together. So one thing I would say, for if you are interested in being an entrepreneur, you're an entrepreneur right now, is don't abandon your health. Like, make sure, you know, if there's anything, you know, figure out how to get health insurance. You know, if there's anything that you're not like, you know, you can kind of like live on couches. Like, you hear of entrepreneurs living on couches, or, you know what I mean, just not taking care of other things. But your health is wealth. And not just your health as far as your body, your mental health too. Because it's really hard to live a life where, you know, today is this, and today is that, and today is this, and today is that. Like, that's crazy. Like, being an entrepreneur, I remember times I would wake up and I maybe signed a deal, or, you know what I mean, made some revenue that was crazy, and I'm like, yes. And then something doesn't come through that I really need, or you know what I mean, I have a bad week, I have a bad day, and I'm like this over. You know, it happens. So I didn't take care of my health. So I eventually ended up coming back to the US and trying to figure that out. Now I'm here, I'm in Trump. This is Trump time, right? We're trying to get rid of, or you know what I mean, the government's trying to get rid of Obamacare. Like, all these things are happening health-wise in the healthcare industry. It's just a very scary time to be back. But I realized that, you know, it's very important. I need to fix this, I need to take care of my health. And so I will do a separate video on what I did as an entrepreneur to like fix my health situation, what to do even if you're not an entrepreneur and life throws something at you. It's gonna be a video not just about it's gonna be a video about navigating the healthcare system as a Black woman. I think a lot of times, and people talk about this, sometimes we're not heard in healthcare. Look at what happened to Serena, you know what I mean? Even no matter how rich you are or whatever, you may get lost in the health system. And I almost got lost in the health system because I was tracking that, but I did not have initially the right team, the right doctors to help me, and I had to do a lot of research. You know, Gabrielle Unions talked about this, so this is a really big issue. I'm also going to talk about, you know, finding your spirituality, finding God, having God be your North Star when you go through a health crisis, especially a health crisis that you may feel like you don't have an option. You may feel like you can't attack it. Because I think health is definitely going to doctors and getting things checked out and having a good team of healthcare professionals and family members to help you through this problem. But it's also spiritual and finding God and trusting God, and so I'll definitely do a video about that. Third thing was, so business stress, money stress. I haven't talked about money, but I was just burned out. I was tired, I was exhausted, I was mentally exhausted, I was physically exhausted. From my strand of my hair to the tip of my toes, I felt just like my soul was just sucked out because, you know. Okay, so let's talk about money. So after dealing with all these health issues or whatever, money, money, they say more money, more problems, more money, more problems, less money, more problems. But no, seriously. So I think, you know, obviously the cost of living in a place like Nigeria is very low compared to here. I think it depends on your lifestyle, yeah, but just in general, on average, you know, you don't need as many dollars or whatever to live. I won't say comfortable, but to live, right? So, you know, I went from okay, let's just say my rent monthly, which wasn't monthly, but let's just say my rent monthly in Nigeria is $500 to come into the US, especially in New York where it's $1,500, right? Totally different. And of course, you know, dealing with what I had to deal with my company, it just wasn't sustainable to live here and have my income be there, and not to be there to grow it, and the money just. And even while I was there, I will say, initially, you know, I made a lot. Well, what I thought was a lot of money, because it's an English major. So it took me a while to get the concept of revenue, profit. There's a difference. So, you know, sometimes as a business, you're getting a lot of revenue, but there's a lot of expenses like, you know, salaries and light bill, electricity bill, and, you know, location and website cost and delivery cost, and they all add up. And sometimes when you look at your revenue, even though your revenue looks really, really great, if you're not watching your expenses, and then if you're in a situation where like you're seeing revenue dip, but then expenses are like staying like this or even going up, that's another red flag. So, you know, knowing, like being really in tune with your numbers is very, very important for entrepreneurs to pay attention to. And, you know, I think also is the fact that there is a lot of smart business women of color here on the continent, everywhere. A lot of smart business women, period. And if you look at the numbers, right, only I think 2.2%, 2 out of 100. So I have 100 entrepreneurs, only 2%, 2 people got venture capital funding. And venture capital funding is so important because it's really, really hard to bootstrap a business. Yeah, you can save money and try to, you know, create your business and come up with a more MVP, which is a minimum viable product. But to really scale and to grow, if it's, you know, expanding to different cities, different countries, you know, really growing in marketing, getting different deals, if you don't have venture capital funding, it's hard. Not saying that people haven't done it, it's just then you have situations like it takes longer, you know, whereas a business that has venture capital funding can kind of come in and just like raise money and grow in 2 years, 3 years, 5 years. It's taking you 10 years to get to where you could get in a year or 2. So I was bootstrapping my business and I had support. Luckily, I was one of the lucky few to have family to invest in my company and help support me. What about the people that don't even have that? You see what I'm saying? And I think that for me, I could have done more to go after venture capital funding. I don't think I even really tried enough. So it goes back to that education piece as women of color. Like, are we educating ourselves? We tell ourselves, okay, I know I need to save money, whatever, but are we really understanding what it takes to grow an Amazon or an eBay, or it's a bad example, an Amazon or a Netflix, you know what I mean, a Uber, Lyft? What does it take to grow those kind of companies that have huge impacts around the world? It's really, really, really hard to do that without venture capital funding. I mean, it just is. And so if only 2.2% of women in general, and that's all types of women, are getting venture capital. Now imagine how much goes to African American or black women. 0.2. Honey, 0.2 might as well be 0. 0.2% of venture capital funding goes to an African American founder. So you're telling me that male founders start with 6 times more funding than female founders, and then you wonder why it's harder for us, why there's a disparity. But we know women create great companies. We know Lisa Price created Carol's Daughter. Like, we know women create amazing companies. We know, you know, about Rent the Runway. We know about Birchbox, even though they're struggling right now, but we know about these companies. And if you look at the companies that are doing well, especially in beauty, because that's kind of like what I know, or did well, whatever, they had access to funding. Lisa Price had to get her funding through, or I guess you call angel investments, through celebrities. But it's so important. Before then she was sold to L'Oreal and blah, 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 blah. And we'll talk about some of those deals. And hopefully at some point when I launch my podcast, we'll talk about how these black women, or, you know, women of color did it. So that's something that's like very, very near and dear to me. I'm going to an event today with Hulu and with Samsung. Thank you, Hulu. Thank you, Samsung, for the invitation. And it actually talks about this issue. So in the come back to the end of the video. I'll have clips about what the professionals have to say about this issue and how to deal with it. So funding is very, very huge. I will say that, you know, if you're thinking of leaving your 9-to-5, stay alive job and become an entrepreneur, you should really think about what happens when you need to scale, how you're gonna grow. What happens when you save $10,000 and it's gone, or $30,000 and it's gone, or even $100,000. I have entrepreneurs who saved hundreds of thousands of dollars and it's gone. So bootstrapping is not sustainable when you need to grow a brand. You can have an amazing idea, you can be bomb founder, ready to like work till you're, you know, nugget till you buck. I don't know if that's really relevant, but you know what I mean. And then you don't have funding, kapoots. I talked a lot earlier about health. I don't want this video to be too long, and I don't want to like baby like whatever these like very important issues. But like mental health is something that is not talked about. Again, it's really, really, really hard to be an entrepreneur, to always be told no, to always have doors slammed in your face, to deal with so many highs and lows. It's hard, and I think that we're not addressing sort of like mental health in the entrepreneurship space. And then you're in a profession where you don't have access to healthcare, especially if you're just starting off or whatever. So we can talk about that. And then honestly, another side of entrepreneurship, that was really, really hard for me. I mean, I've always been like a person who like stayed in her lane. Okay, Lisa, focus. Okay, so basically, competition is good. I think competition is good. It is good for especially the consumers. You want competition. If you're in hair care, you want a Carol's Daughter and a Shea Moisture. If you're in beauty, you want a Fenty and a Kat Von D or a NARS. You know what I mean? You want to have options. Having competition is really, really great for consumers. It's really great for business owners too, because it helps you, keeps you on your game, makes you accountable, actually helps you innovate. Now, sometimes as business owners, especially as female business owners, and honestly, minority business owners, the competition can get very, very nasty. Very, very nasty. There are people who want things at all costs, want to be successful, make that money, have that clout, have that fame, have that whatever it is, and at all costs, and will literally be working on behind the scenes to bring you down. I think that happens all over the world. I'm not gonna say that that was just something I experienced on the continent. It was very, very weird on the continent for me, because it wasn't like, okay, it wasn't just based on like whatever. I don't want to get into it, but I mean, I will at some point. I will talk specifically about competition. But even if you're competing, you should be competing with a company that maybe is in the same business as you. So if I'm in beauty and you're in tech, why are you competing with me? You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't make sense. If I'm a small brand and you know, of course I can see a big brand being threatened by a smaller brand, but maybe you can work with a smaller brand. Maybe you can acquire the smaller brand. Maybe you guys can collaborate. Maybe there are things that you can learn about the smaller brand. But just this whole idea of, okay, you have to, nobody owns anything. You know, the only way that you can keep what you do have is to innovate. If you do not innovate as a company, a smaller brand, I don't care how big you are, a smaller brand will come in and take a share of your business. And you bad-mouthing, talking and playing all these dirty games is not going to change that. Because guess what? You may be able to push that smaller brand out, but then your people still don't want you. You said, so you're gonna fight every smaller brand coming into space? It's not gonna work. Doesn't matter how big you are. Look at Facebook. They saw Instagram, they bought it. They saw WhatsApp, they bought it. Do you understand what I'm saying? So there are ways. I'm not saying don't address the issue of smaller brands coming in, it's like, be smart about it, and then take some of those learnings and innovate, or else this is a problem you're always going to have. I think even like between like smaller brands, and again, not saying that this specifically happened to me, not confirming or denying it, but I think that within smaller brands there can be like a lot of competition, people doing shady stuff, and the people that will do the shadiest things to you are the people who you know, friends, family, friends, not exes. We haven't got to there yet. Hey, exes. No, we've not seen that one. But ex-business partners. Oh, the tea is hot, honey. But, you know, I think that, again, it's healthy to be competitive, but like being nasty, I don't know. I'm a Christian. I don't want to do anything in my life in a nasty way. I don't like have a separate like, this is how I do business and this is how, you know, I live, and oh, I give to, you know, certain communities, and I give back to my community, and I do charity, but I treat people like crap and do bad business deals. Sis, bros. You know, I don't care. Like, you need to live by what you stand by what you live. Oh, okay, whatever. But you guys know what I mean. And then those people will be the ones like in the conferences, you know, those women empowerment conferences. Women empowerment conferences, guys. He said, "Walk of the devil." I'm convinced, child, they are the devil. I swear. It will be those women who are like at the women empowerment conferences, especially the teens, especially the older ones, will be like, oh yeah, you know, give back to younger women, like giving that whole spiel about, you know, sisterhood and paying it forward, but then in their actual business life, whoo, they are serving it hot. They are, you know, scheming and doing all kinds of sort of things that I don't care what it is, whatever I decide to do in my career, I want to live my life with integrity. I will never purposefully, and I know it's not good to say never, but I will never on purpose. Now, things happen, you know, in life, but purposefully try to bring another woman down or another business down. I will face my lane, and it was really hard to be in an industry where a lot of people weren't doing that. Sis, there's no amount of money. There's really no amount of money that's worth that anyway. But I mean, if like, it's just not worth it. It's too early in my YouTube career to be making statements and shaking tables. That's not why we're here. We are here for education, okay? So, you know, the truth is, I'm always going to be an entrepreneur. Like, it runs in my blood, literally runs through my veins. I'm going to be different about it. I'm going to be more of an entrepreneur. So, girls, guy, whatever, dudes, I dusted my shoes, dusted that resume, got that degree, you know. Where my degree at? I will find it for you. But I dusted that resume, dusted my degree, and got on the streets back to corporate America. Hello, hi, how are you? How you doing? Hey, my name is Lois. How was you? Because for me, I wasn't ready. And I think that, you know, at some point you have to be able to own your ish and be like, this is not the right time. Timing is everything. And to me, I felt like I learned a lot that I now want to take back and process. And, you know, maybe in 5-10 years, maybe I'll be like an entrepreneur in that like sense of this is all I'm going to do. For now, I'm happy being an entrepreneur. I have a great company that I work for, a great team of people. I love my life. I'm doing my baby girl my way. And I also realized that I didn't really like some of the business stuff. Like, I'm not a great accountant. Do not have me accounts for anything. You know, I'm not good at numbers, you know. And maybe I need to spend the time to get better at that. And I just like don't like the struggle life. Okay, but I think that I do admire entrepreneurs. I do admire entrepreneurship. I think I love, but I also realized that what I loved was meeting people, and I love like the content creation aspect of it, because I would create a lot of content to promote my business, and I love that. I love flipping talking, like you can see as I've been going on and on and on and on in this video. But I love to talk, and I love to connect, and I love to share, and that's what I want to do right now. I want to create content for you guys, and I want to, you know, do what I can as far as content creation to help sort of share my experience as an entrepreneur, as limited as it is. You know, I've experienced success, I've experienced failure, I've experienced something, so I want to share some of that on this channel and my podcast that will be coming out soon. And you know, I'm also a writer for Bella Ninja Style, so BellaNinjaStyle.com, and you know, I talk about the influencer industry because I run Beauty Revolution Studio, which connects brands with influencers, and I still do that. I still work with influencers in Nigeria and South Africa, sort of like an advisory type thing, and I still create content. So this YouTube will not kill me. My camera keeps cutting off. Anyway, BellaNinjaStyle.com, you can see content about, you know, growing as an influencer. I think last week my article was about how to join PR lists, because I see a lot of people talk about PR lists, and I've created PR lists for my brand, and I've created PR lists for other major beauty brands. Help them develop PR lists. So I did an article there about how you can get on PR lists, because, you know, it's like marketing PR professional. And then obviously subscribe, like this video, and follow me at Louisa Kanoshi on Twitter, Instagram. Let's chop it up and talk. Let me know if you're an entrepreneur, what are you going through, or if you were a recovering entrepreneur, or you're interested in becoming an entrepreneur. I am not saying do not become an entrepreneur. It is amazing. Like, I love entrepreneurs. I love talking about entrepreneurs. I love meeting entrepreneurs. I love people who are go-getters, self-starters, creating their shit. Girl bosses. Ooh, I curse. You guys got me to curse. Girl bosses doing their thing. But I do think that we can do more as a society to support entrepreneurship, because entrepreneurship create jobs. I have to head out to this event. I will definitely have footage of it. And I found my degree. Hey! See, that's what I'm saying. You have to go to school, because, you know, life can throw whatever at you. Anyway, thank you for watching this video. Check out, now we're gonna go to the Hulu Samsung event called Women's First, where there's a panel of women talking about, you know, being a female founder and all that. So we're gonna hear some tips from them before we head out. Again, it's your girl Louisa. Thank you for joining my YouTube channel, and leave a comment below. Let me know what you want in the next video. Bye.
And get the work done. And if you're not out there talking with your community, last year we went on a trip, earlier this year we went on a trip to Arizona that a bank put on. And, you know, I think nearly every woman there was a little bit like, should I really, like, should I be at home working, or should I be with my kids? And we're all there like getting massages. I mean, this story sounds really obnoxious. But my point was, at some point we all looked around to each other and thought, wow, I learned so much about these different deals, different dynamics happening at different funds. This must be how men feel when they go golfing. And so I think just this intentionality around, as these guys said, sharing the deals, but sharing the information around. The first time I negotiated a pay rise in America, I emailed another woman and said, you know, can you tell me the ranges? And she told me exactly what she was getting paid. She told me the last 3 pay rises she had gotten. And I think it is, to the extent that you can, we are only going to all lift each other up by sharing that kind of detailed information.
And the one thing I'd add as well, we're making real progress on the numbers. We are not making progress on compensation, and ultimately, until women are paid the same, we're not there yet.
Why do you think that there is fear around negotiation? Women, when they create businesses, often are creating businesses that are actually making a positive impact for the world, and they're looking at it long term. However, there has always been a sort of inherent conflict between profit and purpose, especially from the venture capital perspective, where you do have to prioritize financial return. So what do you think it will take to shift towards a long-term mindset where positive impact directly aligns with profit and becomes a default in investments?
So my fund, Female Founders Fund, we're an absolute return vehicle, which means we don't characterize ourselves as a double bottom line investment fund, for example. But honestly, I think the biggest impact that we can make is by investing in female founders who go on to create companies that are worth billions and billions of dollars and create jobs, right, but create roles.
The Etsy example, so when you think about social impact, a lot of people believe it's about the upcycling or recycling, but it was really, and what made me really excited to work there was about empowering women. And so if you think about the seller base at Etsy, it's 95% women. Many of them had difficulty getting sort of mainstream jobs or had children at home or something happened, and they were able to thousands of women's lives and their families, which doesn't even get told.
Awesome. I want to give you guys an...
So on this topic, I'm very interested in all underrepresented groups, and so things like plus size fashion, skincare for women of color, and other type businesses like that are things that I'm spending a lot of time on. But also, I've spent a big part of my career building marketplaces and as an operator, and I also understand that there's a lot of technology and help that companies, particularly starting from the ground up, need. And so the whole ecosystem around, whether it's the future of work or supply chain or customer service and things like that, are things that I'm looking at.
So we're also very interested in underserved markets, but my personal passion point right now is in personalized health and wellness. So really excited. We really want to find the companies that are going to bring wellness to the middle of America. I think wellness should not be a 1% solution. And so whether it's, the new kind of Weight Watchers, or whether it's an AI-driven platform that can help people be well.
The last thing I would say, a challenge that I'd like to issue everyone in this room, whether today or when you wake up tomorrow morning or at the beginning of the week, is to look in the mirror and just ask yourself, how big am I willing to dream today? And how alive am I willing to be